Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial in which we'll be talking about the details of how to fill the Supplemental ERAS application. I've made the video last year about the Supplemental ERAS application when it first came out, but there has been some changes in the application itself. That's why I wanted to update this video. Before we get started, if you're not sure how to complete the Supplemental ERAS application, or you need help editing the meaningful experiences or other impactful experiences or anything on your Supplemental ERAS, go ahead and check the service we provide for those who need help with the Supplemental ERAS application. And I'll leave the link for that in the description below. Before we dive in the details on how to fill the application itself, let's go quickly over the timeline of filling the application so you make sure you submit it on time. Let's look here at the supplemental application timeline. The supplemental application will open on August 1st. So August 1st of 2022, you will receive the Supplemental ERAS application. In this email, you will receive a link in which you can click on the link and see your supplemental application, the one that we will be going over. So it's going to be separate from your ERAS. So when you log in into my ERAS, you won't be able to fill the supplemental application. You will receive an email separately, and that link is going to link you towards your application itself. And in the beginning, you're going to see your AAMC number. So that's the way to confirm that this is the right link. So the supplemental ERAS, you won't be able to fill it through your My ERAS. You'll receive a separate email with a link. Once you click on the link, you'll see your number, you agree to 3 things, and we'll see the application as we go on with this video. So August 1st, the application will open. September 14th is the deadline to register for the ERAS token so you can receive the supplemental application email. So if you have not registered by September 14th of this year, you might not be able to submit the Supplemental ERAS application. So if you want to fill the Supplemental ERAS application, make sure to get the ERAS token before September 14th. The deadline for submitting your Supplemental ERAS application is September 16th. So make sure before September 16th to submit your Supplemental ERAS application, which is different than your ERAS application. Because your ERAS application, you can submit it until September 28th. And this is the date in which programs you'll be able to see your ERAS and supplemental application. So if you want to submit your ERAS application on September 27th, that would not be a problem because programs anyway won't be able to see your ERAS application before September 28th. But if you want them to see your supplemental ERAS application, you have to submit that by September 16th. Even though you're going to be submitting it by September 16th, they will be able to see it on September 28th. So just be careful. The most important thing out of this slide here or this table is that you should submit your supplemental ERAS application on September 16th, which might be different than your actual ERAS application. So just make sure to submit it by September 16th. So after you receive the email for filling the supplemental ERAS application, you're going to click on the link which is individualized to you. So you can't share this link with someone else. Once you get this link, you're going to click on the link, you're going to see your AAMC number, and then you'll agree to the terms and conditions, and then you'll start with this application. So this gives you the instructions. You're going to click next, and then you're going to pick the specialty that you want to apply to. So let's say if you want to apply to internal medicine, you pick here, internal medicine categorical. If you're applying to another specialty, you can check that as well. So you can choose more than one specialty here. So if I'm applying to general surgery and internal medicine, I can pick both. I can pick all specialties. So it depends on how many specialties you're applying to. The one thing that you can notice here is that not all specialties are participating in the Supplemental ERAS application. So you can see here, for example, plastic surgery is not part of this. Neurosurgery is not part of this. But last year, there were only 3 specialties that participated in the supplemental application. If you look at my prior video, it was only internal medicine, general surgery, and dermatology. But this year, you can see there are way more specialties. There are 16 specialties who participated in the Supplemental ERAS application. Also, something that you will notice is that not all programs within a specialty are participating in the Supplemental ERAS application. Some programs in internal medicine might say we are not going to look at that, and you can find a full list of these programs in the link that I will leave in the description below, which programs within each specialty are participating in the Supplemental ERAS application. Another note that you will find here is that emergency medicine and OBGYN are not participating in the past experiences and geographic preferences. So in the supplemental ERAS application, as we will go now in detail, there are three main sections: the past experiences, geographic preference, and signaling. So OBGYN and emergency medicine, they're only participating in the signaling, not the past experiences or geographic preference. So now let's move on with the supplemental application so we can see the details of that. The first thing that you'll see after you fill the specialties that you're applying to is the past experiences. And the past experiences is divided into meaningful experiences and other impactful experiences. What does meaningful experiences mean? You'll find that you are able to fill up to 5 experiences. You don't have to fill the 5 of them, but if you have experiences that you want to talk about or share with the programs, you can pick up to 5 meaningful experiences. And let's talk a little bit about the value of this whole supplemental application. Why did they start this whole supplemental application, although you have all these experiences already on your ERAS application? The reason is, in your ERAS application, there is unlimited number of experiences. You can put as many as you like, which makes it difficult for program directors to evaluate every single thing. So when you share the most impactful experiences on your supplemental, now you're highlighting or showcase the most important experiences that you had throughout your journey. So that means it's very helpful if you already completed your ERAS application, you put all the experiences there, and then you pick the 5 most meaningful experiences to you that you want to share with with the program directors and the programs that you are applying to. So if you can read here, please identify and describe up to 5 experiences that you find meaningful, including experiences that communicate who you are, what you are passionate about, and what is important to you. So again, these kind of are the most important things that would share who you are as a person, as a doctor, and why are you pursuing what you're doing that fits within the whole story that you are trying to portray throughout your personal statement, throughout your CV, and your overall application. Let's go over the details that you need to fill for each experience. First, you need to include the position title, and this could be up to 500 characters. You'll see many of these boxes are limited in the number of words and characters that you have, because they want to make it very focused and not have program directors get lost with the so much text that you have in your experience. So position title, it's recommended that you include the same position title that you have in ERAS if you included this experience in ERAS. And I recommend include everything in ERAS, and here pick the most important 5 of these experiences. So if you put research fellow there, you can put research fellow here. If you put research volunteer there, you can put research volunteer here. If you put elective student there, you can put the same position title as the one in the ERAS application. Then you can put the organization name. So where did you do this experience or this position? Then the start date and the end date. So some experiences don't have end date because you're still in this experience. So let's say you're still doing research or still doing volunteering in this place, keep this blank. This is what they recommend. Keep it blank if you are still doing it. And this question can answer that as well. You can pick ongoing if this experience is still ongoing. Now, frequency of participation. One time means you did it once. Daily means you're doing it multiple days a week. Weekly means once or twice a week. Monthly means once or twice a month. Quarterly means 3 or 4 times a year. And annually means once a year. Then comes the setting, which has 2 options, rural and urban. For rural, they define it as a population of less than 2,500. For urban, it's over 50,000. So if you're in New York City, that's definitely urban. If you're in a small village that has a population of less than 2,500, you pick rural. Experience type. This is probably one of the most important things in this experience to define what you did here. So experience type, you have multiple categories. You have education or training. So if you've done an observership or externship, clerkship, sabai or elective, that fits under education and training. If you did a particular course that was educational to you, you're the student here and it gave you an extra experience, that can fall also under educational or training. Military service is obvious. Other extracurricular activities, club hobby. So if you're playing music, theater, sports, or any extracurricular activities, that falls under here. Professional organization. If you're part of an organization, like maybe on a national level or a local level or even inside your school, that would be under professional organization. So if you have the plastic surgery interest group internationally, that would count as the professional organization. If you're part of the American Heart Association and you do committee work for that association, you can also put it under professional organization. Being a member only might not be enough to fall under this category. So if you're a member of the association but you don't do anything, you didn't get anything of this experience, that doesn't qualify. But if you went to a conference and presented and you were part of organizing the conference, that might qualify here. Research is obvious, and we have multiple courses on how to do research, on how to find research positions. And in my opinion, if you're watching this video and you're not applying to the match this year, I highly recommend doing research. It gives you extra experience. Definitely, if you're interested in that, it makes your CV stronger. It builds connections within the field. And even actually, if you're applying this year and you have time, because now we're in August, you're going to be submitting your application in September. So there is a lot of time from September until July where you start your residency. So this is a very good time to do research, because that can also help you in your application for fellowship. Because if you're applying for internal medicine, for example, you only have 2 years to build your CV, because you'll be applying usually by the end of your second year. So this is a very good time to build your application, establish connections, and I have a detailed course that I will leave in the description below on how to do research, how to do statistical analysis, and how to find research positions. Teaching mentoring is when you teach. So educational training is you're the student, here you are the teacher. So this could be paid opportunities if you were tutoring someone, or you were a teacher in high school, or in your anatomy lab, or any teaching or mentorship opportunities that you were the teacher or the mentor. Volunteer service advocacy is unpaid work. Generally, you volunteer your time to do something, and work if you got paid even for clinical work. So let's say you work as a physician and assistant, as a clinical assistant, as a nurse, or you were in business entrepreneurship. Any type of paid work or business that you did could fall under the work here. Then you have the primary focus area, and they tell you choose the one focus area that best describes the experience for you, because you'll notice that some experiences might have more than one focus area, but they want you to pick the most important one. The same applies here for the key characteristics. More than one might qualify, but they want you to pick only one, the most important one. So the primary focus areas are self-explanatory: basic science if you're doing basic science work, clinical translation, community involvement or outreach, customer service, healthcare administration, improving access to healthcare, medical education, music, athletic, art, promoting wellness, public health, quality improvement, social justice, advocacy, technology. And here you have the key characteristics of communication, clinical thinking and problem solving, cultural humility and awareness, empathy and compassion, ethical responsibility, ingenuity and innovation, reliability and dependability, resilience and adaptability, self-reflection, improvement, teamwork, and leadership. So you can see that so many experiences fall under more than one of these, but you have to pick one, the most important one. And remember that you don't have to fill these primary focus area and key characteristics. So you might fill them blank if you don't feel that any of these qualify for the experience that you're describing here. Because you also have the chance to talk about this experience here in this box. So each experience will get this box here, 300 characters, maximum of 300 characters, including spaces, to talk about this experience. But be very, very careful in what you write in this box, because they tell you very clearly that they want you to write why the experience was meaningful and how it influenced you. So they don't want you to talk about what did you learn from this experience or the set skills that you developed from this experience. So be very careful, and I see students do this over and over again, that they talk about what they did. I participated in this clerkship, I did physical exam, history, I took history, I talked about the plant with the attending. That's not what they need. And why? Because this is already explained in your ERAS CV, and you have very limited space here. It's 300 characters, not 300 words. So you have very limited space. They want you clearly to talk about why this experience was meaningful to you and how it influenced you. Why it's meaningful to you is like, why did you choose this? Why did you choose this out of all the experiences? What kind of skills or characteristics you want to convey to the person, but don't list these skills. So you're going to talk about how this experience influenced you, impacted you in becoming maybe a better person, better resident, showing an aspect of you that might not be clear from the ERAS application. So be very careful in the way that you phrase this meaningful essay here. And you need to also weave the focus area or the characteristic that you tagged. So here the focus area, for example, if you picked medical education and maybe here picked communication or critical thinking and problem solving, you need to somehow in this essay to talk about or weave in the key characteristics or the primary focus area that you included. So if you talked about teamwork and leadership, mention how teamwork is important to you and why teamwork was influential to you and how it will impact you in the future. So not only say, oh, I got the skill to be a team player, now I'm a leader, I know how to manage a team. That's not what they want. They want how this experience influenced you and why you picked it and how it will impact you in the future. And we in the Match Guy helped many applicants last year and many this year so far in editing the Supplemental ERAS application. Mainly this section here because it's very important and program directors would be looking at it to see who you are and what kind of experiences got you to where you are now. So if you need help editing your Supplemental ERAS application, including here the meaningful essay, if you need help completing this application, you're not sure what experience to pick, go ahead and check our website for the supplemental application editing we do. And if you have any questions, reach out to our email info@thematchguy.com. One key point I want to mention here is that when you pick the 5 experiences, don't pick all 5 to be the same. So here we have multiple experience types. So if you did 5 years of research, don't pick 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 as research. Maybe pick 1, max 2. If you did rotations, maybe pick 1, 2 clinical, 1, 2 research, some extracurricular activities, some organization. So make sure to mix these experiences, of course, if you have these experiences, to show how comprehensive applicant you are. So the clinical would reflect your clinical skills. The extracurricular activities would show you outside the hospital. Professional organization might show you leadership skills. The research might show your research skills. Teaching would show teaching, because all these characteristics are important for your residency. To teach residents, to do research, be a leader, have skills and teach people in the future. So that's why it's important to kind of mix these experiences and select a comprehensive combination of these experiences if you have them. And the same way you fill experience 1 will apply to experience 2, 3, 4, 5. So now let's move on to the other impactful experiences. So the other impactful experiences is a little bit different from the 5 experiences, the meaningful experiences that we talked about so far. So for this, you're going to be talking about any challenge or hardship that influenced your journey to residency. So this might be not something that you included in your ERAS application or maybe not in your personal statement. Most people would include challenges and hardships in their personal statement, but you might not have included that. So this is a way for you to mention these challenges and hardships. And you might ask why people would be interested in that. Because if you face a challenge and you have overcame this challenge, or you faced a difficulty to get where you are, that might tell me more about you as a person. So CV is good, scores are good, but I want to know what type of person I'm going to be working with for the next 3 years or 6 years or even 7 years in certain residencies. And it give you an example here of the different type of experiences that could be considered as challenging and hardship. So family background could be, you might have a difficult family background that made it more difficult for you to come to where you are right now. Financial background, not all people have the financial ability to study medicine, and some people might have worked for years in other jobs to be able to make it to medicine. So these people have faced more challenges to compare to someone who comes from a rich family and they paid for all their schooling and didn't have any problem. Community setting, educational experiences, or any general life experiences. So they give you here 750 characters to share this challenge or hardship that you overcame or you faced across your medical journey or journey to residency. And not every applicant has to fill this section. And programs understand that not every applicant has to fill this section, because not every applicant faced a challenge or hardship. But if you have one, definitely share it here, because that can tell more about you as a person. And even if you share it in your personal statement, it doesn't hurt to mention it here as well. I don't recommend copy pasting the exact same thing, maybe phrase it differently. Language wise, the story might be similar, but make sure not to copy paste from your MSPE or from your personal statement or even from your CV in your supplemental application. If you need any help editing the other impactful experience or the meaningful experience or any part of your supplemental application, go ahead and check our Supplemental ERAS application editing on our website, thematchguide.com, and I'll leave the link for that in the description below. Now let's talk about geographic preferences, and this is the second section of the Supplemental ERAS application. And this is, in my opinion, is a very important one because you can signal or you can tell programs which areas are you interested in. So you can see here there are 9 divisions and you can see which states are included under each division. So if you pick one, that tells the programs in this area that you're interested in this area. So, and also programs are able to screen applicants based on the geographic preference. So they can say, I only want to see applicants who picked this area as part of their geographic preferences. So that's why this geographic preference section is important, because it can tell programs which area of the US are you interested in. As I said, there are 9 areas with the states in each, but there is a 10th option, which is I don't have a division preference. So here you are telling programs that you don't have a preference. You are willing to go anywhere. And we'll see when you talk about the description how you can describe that. But for this, you're telling the programs that you don't have a preference. So programs will get the answer that you don't have a preference. If you don't fill this, they will not get any response. But if you fill this, I don't have any preference, they will know that you don't have a preference. If you fill this, let's say you filled in New England, programs in this area, in all these states will receive a notification that you are interested in this location. However, the other programs will not receive any information about that. So Middle Atlantic will not know that you picked New England. East, North, Central will not know that you picked New England. But New England will know that you picked them. So some programs might consider, you know what, if this person did not pick us and we didn't get a response, that means they didn't pick our location. That might be possible, or the applicant might have not picked anything. So that's why if you're interested in any of these locations, I recommend you pick one. If you don't have a preference, pick I don't have a preference. Don't just keep it blank. You'll see here that indicate your preference or lack, therefore, of up to 3 US Census divisions. So you can't pick all of them. You can only pick 3, up to 3, or pick I don't have a division preference. So if you pick 1, 2, 3, you will get 3 essays to write. And similar to the essay of the meaningful experience, you have up to 300 characters, so you don't have a lot of space. And you have to describe why did you pick New England? Why did you pick Middle Atlantic? Why did you pick East, North, Central? And you can mention any reason that convince people in this area. Maybe you have family ties, maybe you like the geography, maybe you have a preference for the nature, or maybe sports, whatever you think your ties to that place is, you have to describe it here. If you pick I don't have a preference, you also have to describe, you don't have to, but it's recommended that you explain why you don't have a preference. Maybe you can say something along the lines of, I don't have a division preference because I'm seeking the best program that will offer me the training, research opportunities, career in the future. So you might keep it open because you are open to going anywhere regardless of the location, because you're looking for the best program that will teach you in residency. Some people might have family ties and they have to go to a certain place because they have their whole family there, or they prefer to be in that place because they have their families there, and that might signal that to the programs, and programs might be more interested in that applicant. The other section of the geographic preference is the setting preference. And the setting preference is whether you're interested in working in a program that is located in a rural area or an urban area. And as we said, rural is defined as population of less than 2,500, urban is over 50,000. And the 5 options you have here: strong preference for rural, slight preference for rural, no preference, slight preference for urban, strong preference for urban. So your answer here will be shared with all the programs, and you'll get the chance also to write an essay about why are you interested in whatever choice you pick. So if you picked, for example, strong preference for urban, you have to explain why, or you get the chance to explain why, and you also have 300 characters. If you don't have a preference, also explain why you don't have a preference. Now let's talk about program signaling, which is another very important part of the Supplemental ERAS application. And some people might ask, why is it important? Why is it important to signal programs? Because each applicant has a certain number of signals, and we'll see the number by specialty, it varies, but each applicant has a certain number of signals. So if you have 5 signals and you send it to certain programs, that means you sacrificed one of your 5 signals to that program. which means you're very interested in the program. So programs who receive signals from the applicants, that means they might consider these applicants higher than or more likely than the other applicants who they didn't receive a signal from, because they're telling them, we're very interested in your program, we sacrificed one of the 5 signals we have to you because we're really interested in your program. So that's why if you send a signal to a program, that tells the program that you're interested in them, and that might increase your chances of matching in that program. That's why pick very wisely the programs that you are sending signals to. And you might ask why, because you have first very limited number of signals, and second, you want to be realistic. So if you're a very competitive applicant and you think that you can match anywhere, send your signals wherever you like to go. But if you're an applicant who doesn't have very high chances, they don't have very high scores, not very competitive CV, you have to be realistic about your chances. So don't spend your signals in programs that you have very, very low chance of matching at, and you lose the chance of matching at more realistic programs because you sent it to other programs. Maybe some applicants can mix, maybe send one to a very competitive program, one to a less competitive program, and one in the middle. So be very wise about selection of programs, and this is a very individualized approach. So don't listen to anyone, look at the different programs who they have. If you're an IMG, did they take people from your own country, your application? Look at the IMG list we have, and I'll leave the link for the IMG list in the description below, because this list has the IMGs from different countries in different programs and where they come from. So that can give you an idea. This is, if there is no IMG from your country in the program, that doesn't mean you can't match in the program. But just take all these factors in consideration when picking which programs are you going to send the signals to. Now let me show you how the number of signals varies by the specialty. Here, this page is from the AAMC website, and I'll leave the link for that in the description below. And you can see the specialties here. We have adult neurology, anesthesiology, dermatology. They're asking you if they are participating in the experiences and geographic preferences. All of them are participating except emergency medicine, as we said, and OBGYN. So now let's talk about the number of program signals. So if you're applying for adult neurology, you get 3 signals. If you're applying for anesthesiology, you get 5 signals. If you're applying for derm, you get 3 signals. Diagnostic radiology and IR, you get 6. So if you apply to 2 specialties, you get 3 per adult neurology. If you're applying to adult neurology, and let's say you're applying to derm as well, you get 3. So it's not like you get 3 for both of them and you have to pick which one. Each specialty is like a separate from the other. So if you picked anesthesiology and derm, you will get 5 per anesthesiology and 3 per derm. So you see how the number varies by the specialty. You see how ortho has like 30 signals, which is a lot of signals. All other specialties have between like 2 to 7, 8, but ortho has 30. OBGYN has an interesting format. They have 3 gold and 5 silver. So gold means here that these are my highest interest, and silver means I'm very interested in these programs. And another interesting part is here the signaling home institution and in-person sub-Is. So as you know, medical students in their 4th year in the US, they go and do sub-internships or away rotations. And some specialties said if you did an away rotation, that is already a signal. You spent money and time to come and do a rotation in that institution, so you don't need to send us a signal. You already sent us a signal. And being a student in this institution is already a signal. So that's why some specialties said you don't need to send a signal if you're applying to the same institution or you did sub-I in that institution. So let's say you did a sub-I at Harvard, you'll be considered as if you sent a signal even if you didn't send us a signal, and that varies by specialty. So derm, they don't want you to send a signal if you are from the same institution or you did a sub-I or away rotation, while adult neurology, they want you to do that. Anesthesiology, they want you to send a signal. And here are some specialty specific information. Some of them have links for more guidance regarding the signaling for each specialty. So now let's go back to the Supplemental ERAS application. Program signals offer applicants the opportunity to express interest in the residency program at the time of application. Please use the following website to confirm which programs in each specialty are participating in the supplemental application. Because as I said, not every program is participating in the specialty. So dermatology is participating, but not every dermatology program is participating. How can you know? You check this link, and I'll leave that link in the description below. So if you go here and you see program specialty all, let's pick for example dermatology, and you can see the list of dermatology programs that are participating in the supplemental application. The same here if you want to pick internal medicine, for example, you can see the list of the programs. There are 513 programs participating in internal medicine. Dermatology, you have 123. For pediatrics, you have 200 programs participating. So you can check this list. If you go here and pick, for example, internal medicine categorical, you will get 7 programs because this is the number of signals you're allowed to in internal medicine. So you can see here 7 internal medicine categorical programs. You should not signal the program at your medical school or any program at which you already completed an in-person clinical sub-I or away rotation. If we go back here to the specialties participating and the instructions and go back to internal medicine, you can see here the number of program signals is 7, and they don't want you to send signals to home institution and the away rotation places. The dermatology also don't want you to send signals to the away rotation and the home institution, and they allow you 3. And the theology allow you 5, and they want you to send signals to the home institution and the sub-I place. So if we go back to the supplemental application, 7 corresponds to the number that we saw in the previous page, and they have this pop-up that you should not signal the programs at your school and the sub-I. And the physiology, on the other hand, we said it's 5, and they don't show you this pop-up that you should not signal, which means you should signal if you're interested in these programs. So it depends on how many programs you're applying to. You pick these programs and then you signal the programs based on the number of programs available. So if you click here, you will get the list of all these programs. So the programs I showed you here under each specialty, you would get them if you just click on the blank here and pick which programs you want to signal. And all these programs here are already participating in the supplemental application. And they tell you one important thing, that there is no rank order of these signals. So if you picked program 1 here, it's not like program 1 is more important than 2 than 3. All these are the same. They get the same signal that you picked 1 out of 5. For internal medicine, that you picked them out of 7. And the final point I want to cover is who gets notified about these signals, the programs that you signal. So let's say here you go and pick Advocate Healthcare, you signal this program will get a signal from you. The other programs that you did not signal will not receive anything. But that means, since you didn't send them a signal and they didn't receive a signal from you, that means that you didn't pick them and you picked other 5 programs. So although you did not tell them, oh, I did not pick you, or they don't receive an email or a notification that you did not pick them, the fact that they didn't receive a signal from you can tell them that you picked someone else. So that's why be very wise about the selection of your signals, because that can increase your chances of matching in that program. And before I finish, if you need any help editing your supplemental application, you need us to have a look at your meaningful experience descriptions or the other impactful experience description, or you have any question about the supplemental application, go ahead and check our website for the supplemental application editing, and you can check the experience of prior students who we edit supplemental application for on our review page on Trustpilot. If you find any value in this video, please go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can support this channel and help this video reach out people who are filling their supplemental application. If you have any question about the supplemental application, don't hesitate to reach out to our email info@thematchguy.com or leave your question in the comments below. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and good luck on your application.